Thank you and welcome for the Science Diplomacy in Korea session. So I'm going to give some overview of these case studies and piece of our directions this morning. Before we talk about the Science Diplomacy session, I will give some introduction about KISTEP, especially about international collaboration and global outreach activities of KISTEP. Then I will give some session overview of this session. KISTEP is a Greek word for Korea Institute of Science, Technology, Evaluation and Training. It's a government-affiliated institute specializing in government R&D planning, coordination, and evaluation under the Ministry of Science, ICT, and Future Planning. We also work with this Ministry of Strategy and Finance in connection with government budget planning and feasibility studies. Main function of KISTEP could be categorized as planning, investment, and evaluation, called PIE. So for planning, KISTEP does Foresight and future strategies for S&T, and also provide policy planning and coordination, especially for the government. We also provide feasibility study on new large-size government R&D program exceeding $50 million, and we are doing a kind of proportional support for budget allocation and coordination of government R&D programs. Finally, we does evaluate of all government R&D program performances. Also, we are doing many work about global cooperation and collaborations. We have been doing many science diplomacy activities during the last 17 years of KISTEP. So globally, we have 27 organization partners out of 17 countries, including USA. And just this morning, we signed the formal MOU with AAAS. And our partners will extend from Japan, China, Kazakhstan, and Qatar, and etc., even from Chile in Latin America. Also, we have done many joint research with many countries, including Vietnam for evaluation studies, and with Kazakhstan for technology foresight and technology roadmap. Also, we provide the national master plan for Cambodia from 2012 to 13, including ICT infrastructures. Also, we have been working closely with Malaysia, so we provide kind of consulting program for R&D program evaluation and technology foresight. Also, we have been closely working with ISTIC. ISTIC is located in Malaysia and is a Category 2 UNESCO institution. And we try to provide a kind of strong one-week training program for high-level policymakers from developing countries, including the topics will include from Korea's nationwide S&T policies to techniques for planning, investment, and evaluation. Up to now, we provide this program for 7 years, and the participant will be amounting to 160 participants out of 56 countries. Also, from last year, we have initiated the Asian Innovation Forum, tried to establish a platform for network and collaboration, especially between Asian think tank groups. So 2015 was the first Asian Innovation Forum year, and we had 90 participants from 65 institutions and 21 countries. Also, in order to promote innovation and share country-specific knowledge and experience, we launched a special network called ASTN, that's Asian STI Think Tank Network. The founding members are 15 institutions from 11 countries. Also, this year, we'll be hosting the second Innovation Forum in August this year in Seoul to share best practices and seeking innovation strategies in Asia. Also, we're going to have a host second Global Forum of National Advisory Council in September 1st to 2nd this year to discuss roles and responsibilities of the council's strategies to influence government STI policy. So, now let me give a session overview of the science diplomacy in Korea, case studies, and future policy directions. So as you know, the science has been doing many roles, especially when the political strains are very severe and strong. For example, in 1972, U.S. and China issued this Shanghai Communique in Shanghai to start a platform of collaboration in many issues, including science and technology. And also in 1980, MOU was signed by Cuba Academy and Cuba Academy of Science and the Smithsonian Institution. So that played a main role, even during there was a strong political tension between Cuba and USA. Also in 2001, Siraku University made an MOU with Kimcheol University of North Korea to initiate a collaboration in these digital infrastructures. Also, in 2009, President Obama gave a speech about new beginning in Cairo. So he emphasized the importance of engaging Muslim world through science and technology. Now, we have come to Korea. As you know, Korea is the only country divided in the world, and the tension in Korea has been becoming strengthened these days. So, as you know, the North Korea continued to launch missile and doing nuclear tests up to now the fourth times. And so, due to this strong constraint, recently, Kaesong Industrial Complex was closed, which was the kind of most successful economic collaboration between South and North. And as also recently, there were 13 North Korea defectors from workers working in China, in restaurants located in China. So, last 6 decades, we have 7 decades of separation between South and North. So, the gaps becoming widened between the Koreas in social and economic and technology aspect. So then what can you do? So now we come to the topic of science diplomacy. Even with this strain, as you know, in this science diplomacy published by AAAS, there was a good article about research collaboration between UK and North Korea scientists in partnership with AAAS about volcanic activities and Mount Baekdu. So, and there should be more issues, urgent issues could be addressed in North Korea, including deforestation and food and energy shortage. By this, we can open up the channels of communication and can build mutual trust between two Koreas, so that we can assist North Korea to move into global science community by promoting joint activities, and we can understand each other by scientific activities. So here, that's why we have this session here in AAAS about science diplomacy in 2016. So we want to learn something from case studies, including including the work by this Pyongyang University of Science and Technology. So President Park will give a talk about this typical example of science diplomacy. This one. Also, we want to learn something from the case of Germany, which the German unification took 45 years, but it took many efforts to this unification be good for both Western German and Eastern German people. And so for that, science diplomacy did a very good role. So we want to learn something from the German case. So the second speaker will be the Dr. Gerhard Hempold will speak about the transition of East Germany's innovation system after German unification. Also, the third speaker will be by KISTEP. He will talk about the role of Dr. Seung-Kyu of KISTEP. He will talk about the role of science technology for the future of the unified Korea. And also, after that, we'll have a panelist, Dr. Phil Eskand from KEI. He's the Executive Director of Operation and Policy of Korea Economic Institute of America, and also Dr. Joachim Ragnis will be the second panelist. So I will end this overview session, and I would like to give my position to President Chan-mo Park. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me here. Well, what I'll be talking is post-Pyongyang University of Science and Technology, which is a typical example of science diplomacy. I have been engaged with North Korea since 2000, September of 2000, but I cannot talk everything, so I will concentrate on post. Well, importance of science diplomacy in Korea already President Youngah Park mentioned, and establishment of post, then conclusions. So the Korea has been divided into north and south since liberation, and but the prosperity of Northeast Asia or world depends on peace and the security of the Korean Peninsula. So we would like to make peaceful and coexist between South and North Korea. Well, situation everybody knows. We had experienced the tragic war, 1950 to 1953, and as of now, there are only PUST is the only collaborative project between South Korea and North Korea because Kumgangsan, well, is stopped. Kaesong is stopped, as everybody knows. Let me tell you what is the recent changes in DPRK. I entered Pyongyang in early March and came out, 23rd of April. And as you know, because of they started the 70-day battle, and everybody worked 7 days a week. Well, they worked. I don't know whether they are complaining inside, but outside, they couldn't complain about working 7 days a week. Anyway, the staff members at the post, they were working very hard. And everyday goods, such as the instant coffee made at the Kaesong industrial complex, stopped because of Kaesong stops. And they were very unhappy about that. That I know because they envied, they missed that one very much. And internet and the email size blocked. I used to be doing internet with the POSTEC, which is Pohang University of Science Technology, where I used to be president. And no problem, even so that URL has KL at the end. But this time it stopped. So I thought North Korea stopped that one. No, it was stopped in South Korea because anything coming from North Korea to South Korea, the internet, email, they stopped. So, but I found the way to get into POSTEC, so I was doing all right. Okay, then the SciTech complex and the Future Scientist Street, they opened, and the new street, Liaomyong Street, is under construction. Even so, I was wondering if they are doing war, why should they construct a new street? But new street is being constructed near the faculty apartments of Kim Il-sung University. Anyway, and all the spring festivals, such as flower show, performance by invited foreign artists, and the fireworks carried out as usual. And one thing, we used to pay to enter to see the festival shows, 20 euros per person, while North Korean people pay less than $1. This time, they invited us free of charge. So I was surprised, but I saw all those things. And as you know, 3 Nobel laureates, they went to Pyongyang on April 29th, and they are going to give lectures at the Kim Il-sung University, Kim Chaek University of Technology, and my university, PUST. Okay, these are some of the pictures. All the pictures which I took with my camera, I always carry my camera in my pocket. Anyway, the first one, 70-day battle, that is where the circus was performed from Russia. And this is Future Scientist Street part. This is the SciTech complex. And this was opened in January the 1st of this year. And this is inside of SciTech. Well, they have a virtual reality lab. Since one of my major fields is virtual reality, I was really interested to go in there. Well, it was not ready. They were using computers to simulate chemistry experiment, physics experiment, and making cuisine, the food. But anyway, here, science, there was a big sign of this science in the hall saying that science is published by AAAS, and their book exhibition will be, from the beginning this year, will be held at the science, SciTech complex. This is about the binalon, and inventor of binalon, Lee Seung-Kyu, was one of the heroes in South Korea, but later on he went to North Korea. And they made a very nice children's, dreamland in SciTech. Okay, PUST. PUST is a unique private and international university in DPRK, and it's a Christian-based university. Not all the professors are Christian, but many of them are Christian, and they are supported from Christian organizations throughout the world. And proposal was submitted. Oh, and we have Sunday worship every Sundays inside, our university. And proposal was submitted in 2001 and approved by both North Korea and South Korea, but it opened in September of 2009, and the student came in October 2010, and all the classes are taught in English by foreign professors from 17 countries. Not all the time 17 countries, but you can see the countries they come from. And the students, originally they came from Kim Il-sung University or Kim Chaek University, but now, beginning last year, they are directly coming from high schools. And they are all more or less gifted students, talented. How do you know? They don't have, duty of military service. When they go to military, it's 10 years. But all these students who go to Kim Il-sung or PUST, they don't serve military at all. So they come as an age of 16 to our university. We have schools of electrical and computer engineering, agriculture and life science, international finance and management. And in IFM, we are teaching capitalistic economy at the PUST. And medical science started for last year. And one thing different, PUST is we have academia industry complex, so-called Research and Business Development Center, where we are developing, commodities. This is school buildings when we opened, and this is the opening ceremony. And you can see some of the computers we are using. They are made LG, made by LG. The current status is the vision, which is more or less I developed, was a global university beyond the imagination. And we had progress over the half years, students, undergraduate students from 100 to 430, and now we have 24 female students. Until the year before last, we did not have any female students. Then graduates, 90 MS students and 7 PhD, so on. Faculty members, 120 now. And the North Korean people, they were surprised when about 100 our faculty members came in March this year, because they thought, about half of them wouldn't come because of scareness, but they came. And initially, mostly Korean ethnics, but now we have more Caucasian, but still no Korean nationality due to May 24 sanction in South Korea. Okay, this is a batch of first student, female student last year, and what I'm teaching is like computer graphics, and as a project, they made the animation of Moranbong Band, and they did quite good, even though the hardware and the software are so poor. And this one, the fall of last year, and I taught virtual reality, and I was surprised that this is a project they selected by themselves, a hip-hop dancer, and the background is USA. And this is a program written in Scratch, which is developed at MIT. And here, in the conclusion, they said, we sincerely appreciate Professor Park for all the efforts he made together useful knowledge of virtual reality. We enjoyed learning the most up-to-date software, Scratch, and the recent tendency of the world, such as 3D TV. By learning such things and practicing, we could turn them into the capital. Rather than money, they wrote the capital. You understand why? And for future struggles, we will make a constant effort to live up to his high expectations. So thank you. See, at the beginning, our students didn't know how to say thank you. Now, they really thank us because we are teaching without any salary. These are faculty members. This is a picture in 2014. Lab equipment, mostly we buy from China. E-library, we have about 4 million books, e-books. And they are supported by Cornell University and UIUC, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and through the United Nations. And the campus is all connected with the optical fibers. And, oh boy. And graduation ceremony, these are the equipment. And also we use Wall Street Journal or New York Times as a textbook downloaded from internet. FUST is the only university where students can use internet. Now, Kim Il-sung University and Kim Chek University will follow soon and these are my students who are using internet at the internet room. This is the library, and this is medical science. So medical science, North Korea allowed us to use Kim Man-yu Hospital and Central Dental Hospital as a training hospital for our university. And many medical teams, they come from USA. And now the construction started, and as you see here, Hyundai, the machine is being used. And the first graduation of the masters, out of 44, 18 came back. And these are 3 masters who got masters under me, and 5 of them who are now working PhD at the ECE. This is first graduation ceremony, undergraduate. 99 graduated. And as you see here, they are ambassadors in Pyongyang. They came to congratulate them. This is the second graduation of graduate students. And some of them studied at the University of Westminster. So the certificate was given by ambassador, default of British Embassy in Pyongyang at the graduation ceremony. This is second undergraduate and third graduate commencement this year. And these are the graduates. And to bridge between DPRK and the Western world, we initiated the international conference. So we had three international conferences every other side. So first PUST conference here is Norman Writer. And here's Peter Agre, who is, Nobel laureate. Unfortunately, this time he couldn't come because of a sickness. And so that time, Peter Agre was keynote address, speaker, and Lord David Elton of UK was another keynote speaker. This is the second PUST conference, and that time, Neil Strong and David Hilmers, who went to space 4 times, and my student was also presenting. In the third, our keynote speaker was Norman Writer. Of course, he talked a lot about the science diplomacy, and Peter Agre one more time. And this is for the first time South Korean government allowed 7 South Korean, people to attend. So Kogon, he was the former premier of South Korea. Then this is a third PUST conference in group picture. And we are sending students to abroad, mostly European countries, because USA does not give student visa. Of course, like Syracuse University, where I'm also involved, you can go there as a researcher. But, I better. Okay, when our student went to University of Westminster, this is the time when they leave. This is when they arrive in, London. And I went to see their advisors and their room, and they were doing fine. So they went to Cambridge, and they went to Uppsala University, Sweden, and now we have a collaboration with Innova of Brazil, and this student now working for their MBA at the São Paulo University. So study the undergraduate we send to China, and this year we are sending Uzbekistan too, and they visit so many, different companies, and these are the pictures. So when they come back, they really change. So here's conclusion. There is no border, as you know, no borders on science and technology among countries. And collaboration with the DPRK through science diplomacy contributes to world peace. And SNT in DPRK is emphasized by government very much. And they are very strong in basic science and theory, and especially math. This year at the Olympiad, Math Olympiad, they were number 4. So highly advanced in computer software area, but weak in commercialization and marketing technology. So we can, by collaborating, we can have synergy effect. Okay, so PUST was established to foster talented young people, and PUST can play an important role in bridging between DPRK and the Western world. So PUST graduates can contribute to the globalization of DPRK, and significance of a PUST International Conference set milestones of science diplomacy at PUST and the DPRK. So the important factors from my experience is mutual trust, awareness of homogeneity, patience, and love and sacrifice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice presentation by President Park Chan-moo. And so now the podium will be open to this, to you, to the Dr. Gerhard Heimhold. Yeah. So thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, thank you for invitation. The topic of my presentation is the transition of East Germany's innovation system after German unification. The presentation was prepared together with a colleague of mine, Mirko Titze. He's also affiliated at the Halle Institute for Economic Research. This institute is a child of German unification. It was established in 1992. It belongs to the Leibniz Association, one of the big academic associations in Germany. Before entering into in depth more into the subject of innovation system and its change, allow me making a brief remark on East Germany's overall economic performance measured by productivity. This figure shows us that all East German states, except Berlin, have a productivity which is lower than that of the West German states. Even the federal state of Brandenburg, which has the highest productivity in East Germany, does not reach the level of the federal state of Schleswig-Holstein, which has the lowest productivity among the West German states. The question can come up, what is behind this gap? I would mention two aspects. First, firms in East Germany are on average much smaller than their West German counterparts. That means economies of scale cannot be explored to an extent as it is given in the western part. And second, there are only few headquarters companies in East Germany which, for instance, conduct research and development. Most of them, taking the top 500 companies in Germany, most of them are located in the western part. Talking about the innovation system, allow me at first to make an excursus on the cooperation in science between the two Germanys before German unification. Between the end of the 40s and the second half of the 50s, there were mutual visits, common organizations. Later, the GDR authorities acquired increasing control over these relations. Separate East German academic societies were established. Then in the 60s, from the West German side, a new policy approach came up, labeled as change through rapprochement. And this paved the way for cooperation between the two German states, also in the field of science. In 1972, a treaty was signed concerning the relations between the Federal Republic of Germany and the German Democratic Republic. And Article 7 of this treaty comprised the intent to sign a specific treaty for cooperation in the field of science and technology. And indeed, in 1987, this treaty was signed, and for instance, it enabled exchange of researchers in East and West Germany. Let's turn now to the innovation system. It consists of three pillars: the enterprise sector, the non-university public research sector, and the university sector. What about the enterprise sector? In the centrally planned economy of GDR, the state-owned industrial trusts, they hosted partly separate R&D organizations, and in addition, almost each of the subsidiaries of these trusts had an own R&D department. Altogether, 86,000 persons were employed in R&D in the enterprise sector at that time. This R&D staff was heavily involved in developing products and technologies for the purpose of import substitution and for the purpose of overcoming system-immanent scarcity of resources. After German unification, a very strong decline in industrial R&D activities took place. The former industrial research institutes were separated from the production entities. They were partly privatized, partly liquidated. The decline of R&D in the enterprise sector resulted from the economic difficulties after German unification. First, the Comic-Con markets had broken down, and second, there was a steep increase in wages associated with an exchange rate of 1-to-1, which was not affordable to most of the previously state-owned enterprises. So they cut R&D activities. And moreover, it is worth to say that in the course of privatization, most of the West German and the foreign investors, they were only interested in taking over the production facilities, but not R&D. So as a result, the R&D personnel in the enterprise sector went down to 43,000 persons in 1991, whereby it includes entire Berlin and not only East Berlin and the 5 East German states, of course. So to avoid a misunderstanding, researchers in East Germany are not less creative than their West German colleagues. The problem is the economic structure. That means these shortcomings in R&D in the enterprise sector are due to a lack of headquarters or due to the specific industry structure, and it results from the character of most firms as small and medium-sized firms. And remember of these specific research organizations of the former industrial trusts, if they were privatized successfully, many of them still exist and label now as so-called external research entities or external research organizations. And finally, it is worth to mention in this context that there is a broad variety of public support schemes for R&D activities, both in the public as well as in the private research sector. So far I talked about input, R&D input. What about innovation output? Taking the frequency of introducing product innovation and process innovation, there is a surprise. Look at the introduction of novelties to the market, which can be regarded as the most challenging form of product innovation. Here, East and West are more or less on a par. My interpretation is the following. Numerous East German firms are subsidiaries of West German or international firms. So R&D takes place in the parent companies, and then the knowledge transfer occurs in favor of the East German subsidiaries, and they produce the new products. Let's talk about the non-university public research sector. In the GDR, there were 4 scientific academies. I take here the example of the Academy of Sciences, which was the biggest one of the academies. It was both an association of scholars and an umbrella organization for 60 research institutes. The Academy of Sciences employed 24,000 persons, and its mission was both basic research and industry-related research. Unfortunately, in the course of time, the proportions have changed in favor of industry-related application-oriented research. This was due to the worsening economic situation in the eastern part of Germany. After German unification, the Academy of Sciences was dissolved due to the Unification Treaty. The institutes were subdivided, reorganized, and assigned to the existing German non-university research organizations, Fraunhofer, Leibniz, Max Planck, Helmholtz. Partly new institutes were established. Let's talk briefly about the university sector. It's plausible. Its mission was to conduct education and research. And there were similar things happened in the university sector as it was given in the academies. There was a shift in favor of application-oriented research. To illustrate, in natural sciences, the share of basic research went down from 49% in 1980 to 26% in 1987. After unification, the majority of the universities underwent restructuring, modernization, due to laws on the renewal of the university sector adopted by the federal states. It's worth to mention that in Germany, the lenders, the federal states, are responsible for the universities. Partly new universities were established. So this is a kind of summary of this presentation. It shows the share of R&D expenditures in GDP, and the red segments represent the public sector, the blue segments represent the enterprise sector. And what we can see, look at the data for the prospering West German states, Baden-Württemberg, Bavaria, and Hesse. In these states, the firms contribute much more than 50% to overall R&D expenditure. In East Germany, and also in some structurally weak West German states, the reverse is the case. That means the public sector contributes much more than 50% to the overall R&D expenditures. So from my viewpoint, public research sector in East Germany represents a strength. It bears a chance for knowledge transfer to private firms, for instance, by innovation networks, R&D networks, and indeed case studies show that universities, research institutes play an important role as nodes in innovation networks. In these networks, as another case study shows, the East German firms often seek for partners in West Germany, but the share of East German partners is increasing. And in this context is again important to mention the great importance of public funding for clustering and networking activities. So, to sum up, what we learned is that we have a relative strength of public R&D, while the R&D in the enterprise sector shows some weak points. Strengthening the R&D in the enterprise sector requires, from my viewpoint, three things. First, further firm growth is required. It's at first line the responsibilities of the entrepreneurs themselves. Second, networking matters. Networking between public research entities and private firms. And third, strengthening universities and non-university public research institutes remains on the agenda to enable these entities to act as gatekeepers to worldwide knowledge for the small business sector and to act as nodes in innovation networks. This was my presentation. I thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you, Dr. Heimold. So the final speaker is Dr. Seung-Kyu from KISTEP. So please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Seung-Kyu, attending to KISTEP, especially Division of Technology Foresight. I'm happy to give a talk to you about my research and KISTEP's research about unification of Korea. My topic is about preparation direction to unified Korea in terms of science and technology. Yeah, first chapter is about importance of unification for Korea. This slide illustrates 3 points of importance of unification for future Korea. The first one is about low economic growth problem. As you see the graph, the growth rate of Korea is decreasing faster than expected. The average growth rate of Korea in the first 5 years of 2010s predicted by Goldman Sachs was 7.2%, but reality was 3.75%. And the second point is the reduction of total population and the economically active population. The report of UN forecast the unification of Korea in 2015 will lead to about 1,200 population increase until 2100. And the last point is about international leadership of Korea, especially in terms of peace leadership. And last year we conducted a interest survey about the impact of unification to future society of Korea. The results show that most of future trends will be intensified by the Korea. It means unification can increase the uncertainty of the future of Korea. So uncertainty can induce the increasement of cost and time for reunification. Also, if the uncertainty is not properly resolved, innovative potential of unified Korea can be reduced through reunification process. In conclusion, we have to discover and plan for more efficient way of unification than the former Germany reunification. It means must consider the economic growth potential, the cost, and the speed of unification process. The efficiency in innovative capability would be the most important aspect in science and technology. To achieve this, a plan that does not harm the innovative potential in North Korea has to be set. Okay, well then, what Korea has been somewhat prepared for unification. 2 years ago, we conducted a survey about status of a SENC in South Korea. SENC means scientists escaped from North Korea. survey's purpose is to know if can settle where in South Korea society, and if South Korea is ready to use potential of North Korea's scientists. Totally 30 people did respond to in-person interview in this survey. We could get some result. This slide shows the thanks science and technology occupation in North Korea is so satisfied, but compared to South Korea, but in South Korea, they didn't feel satisfaction compared to North Korea. And Hanawan Education is the training program for North Korea's people's escaped. But in this slide, the left graph shows the Hanawan education is not effective to obtaining science and technology position in South Korea to thank. They have felt so many difficulties to seek jobs related to their specialty and Korea in North Korea. Also, they have properly effort to find science-related work in South Korea. Most of them didn't get job related to science and technology. So from this survey, we could know the South Koreans didn't have any preparation to accept SANK and use the capability of SANK as a potential for reunification of Korea. The third chapter is about survey to East German scientists in unified Germany. This survey was conducted last year to totally 221 scientists from the former East Germany or currently lived in East region of Germany. Okay, this slide shows scientists from the former East Germany provided a positive effect on social integration in unified Germany. They felt social status is improved after unification, and their social status is also improved compared to East Germany. We consider that maybe German government has provided a desirable environment for East German scientists for their settlement in unified Germany after reunification, because the many results shows that they didn't feel the difficulties to get the jobs and retain their specialty. And so we think important point during their job application process is below. The first one, experiences from East Germany were recognized without additional education or evaluation, and also no discrimination regarding the level of technology, education, and job system. And most have said that the governmental support was helpful during the job application process. The three graphs shows these facts. Also, science and technology from the former East Germany are well utilized in respect of manpower rather than the technology or infrastructure for innovation in the eastern region of Germany. Below graph shows that 66% respondents think that the scientists from the former East Germany are actively utilized. However, only 10.9% think that the technology from the former East Germany are actively utilized. And in case of infrastructure, about 50 point is utilized. So we could conclude that the manpower is the most resource for unified Germany. The fourth chapter is about the change of research and development performance in region of East Germany after unifications. We analyzed the publication papers in SCI journals from 1970 to 2014. The number of publicated journals increased relatively soon after the unification. Also, there is a gap between the number of publications. The rate of increase is relatively high. The number of publicated journals increased relatively soon after the unification. Especially international cooperation is still relatively low. They could be a synergy when East and West Germany participate in international cooperation together. In the right graph, the green line is cooperation with East and West Germany participate in international cooperation. Okay, this graph shows that quality indicators of publications are comparable to the West. The first graph is about journal impact factor, and the below graph is about annual impact factor of West Germany and East Germany. This graph shows that the distribution of paper. The unification contributed to the expansion of research network. However, there is still a lack of regional balance in East Germany. Well, research network expanded globally upon unification. We think research capability of East Germany contribute to this expansion. Okay, this graph is about shows that R&D capability has been well developed. However, industrial innovation needs more time and effort to reach goals. The left graph shows that most of people's agreement to R&D capability direction is higher than agreement to industrial innovation capability directions. And the right graphs point out wage and jobs satisfaction is low. Okay, finally, so creation of innovation and the innovative network is improving desirably. However, international innovative system seems to need more time. The left graph shows that this fact. The left is policy, means policy after the unification. The right is nowadays necessary policy. There are some differences. Nowadays, many people think that the government, academic, and industry, the corporations in triple helix systems, but after unification for 25 years, this policy ratio is ratio of this policy is a little bit low. And I would like to summary like this. We have to prepare a plan for the development of an efficient, innovative system and utilization of labor potential, especially a plan for the innovative system which can increase the innovative capability of North Korean scientists in a short period of time. I would like to suggest using two example plan. One is improve the autonomous region. Autonomous region is programs conducting by German government for 15 years. And second example is Science and Technology Center in North Korea, like ISTC and STCU. ISTC and STCU is founded after Soviet Union collapse for protecting and supporting nuclear scientists of Soviet Union. So we think similar programs will be needed to prevent the brain drain and nuclear proliferation from the foremost from North Korea. So that's all. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. So we are a little bit behind, so please come all the speakers and panelists to this table, and so let's start. So thank you for the speakers. So since we have about almost 10 minutes behind, so I'd like to give our mic to the two panelists. The first to Phil, for about 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I guess my role here is more of a discussant to talk about the various presentations. So I don't have a PowerPoint, so that may hopefully excite you that I don't have a PowerPoint presentation here. But I just thought I'd start off commenting on some of the great papers and food for discussion. I think I'll raise some questions, and then if some of the other panelists want to comment on it, that'll be great. First, again, with just so you all, I'm sure all of you are familiar with the background of North Korea. It's one of the most repressive regimes in the world, and probably the most difficult country to conduct any diplomacy. Some of the examples or discussions that were raised here, particularly in the German example, sometimes it's hard to create strict analogies. But as some points were already made, there were already agreements made between East and West Germany. We had diplomatic recognition between the two countries. Even the United States recognized East Germany. There was really no bans on, say, West German citizens visiting East Germany. And that's not the case in the North Korean example. As you saw in the slides from Dr. Park, I mean, they needed actually extra special permission just for 7 South Koreans to go visit. And now with heightened United Nations sanctions and other bilateral sanctions like in the United States, it's making it tougher and tougher to engage in these activities. A couple of questions maybe for Dr. Park. Is there another international conference that you're planning for the end of this year? And do you think the sanctions would impede people or what's going on between North Korea and the rest of the world would impede people from wanting to attend? There's even talk now in the United States of moving another North Korean sanctions bill that would ban the travel of American citizens to go to North Korea. I was also wondering about what kind of, do you keep track of the jobs that your graduates take? Because there may be some anxiety in the United States, particularly if some of the graduates then go on into North Korea's nuclear weapons program or their cyber warfare capabilities. Do you detect in your students that they don't want to go on those things, they want to be in more pure science, or are you able to track those students once they graduate? Maybe you can talk about you're trying to get the regular internet spread more throughout your university and then expanding it to other universities too in North Korea. And for Dr. Yi, in terms of your survey of North Korean scientists who defected, I was curious if you were able to ask them maybe the reason why they defected. Because in one slide, it basically said that 20 or 2/3 of the people defectors you surveyed were satisfied with their jobs in North Korea. So maybe there was another reason why they defected, and maybe that can be something to maybe subtly talk about when we're engaged with science diplomacy with North Koreans, about maybe having them to think differently of their state. Because as you all probably know here, I mean, again, the regime is very strange. I mean, there's been reports that children learn math in North Korea by counting the number of American imperialist bastards that they killed. You know, 5 American imperialist bastards I killed in the morning, and then I killed 2 more later. How many American imperialist bastards did I kill today? And then we have in today's front page of the Washington Post a picture of foreign journalists touring a model commune farm, and the children are playing with military weapons as toys. And the article talks about some of the artwork on the wall in the kindergarten area. They had pictures of furry creatures like little squirrels, and one was holding a rocket-propelled grenade launcher. I mean, science diplomacy is tricky, and we want to make sure that we are showing them that people outside of North Korea are not monsters, as they've been raised to believe, but we also, the double-edged sword is making sure that they are not going to do something that would be inimical to regional security. Because sometimes maybe scientists would maybe get a little ahead of themselves, as we saw in the Loral export control violation issue, where one U.S. Engineer was a little bit too forthcoming to his Chinese counterparts and helped the Chinese learn how to launch rockets better. So you want to avoid that situation as well. But I think in the interest of time, maybe I'll...
Thank you. So can you, I put, give my mic to Dr. Joachim Ragnaz. Thank you. So.
I take this one. Okay, thank you very much for the invitation. So as I am also from Germany, as Mr. Heimpold is, I like to add some facts and some opinions of mine to the situation in GDR before unification and in East Germany today. Well, with respect to R&D and science and technology in GDR times, we have seen from your presentation that there was not so much international recognized output with respect to papers or with respect to collaboration between research institutes in the East and the West. I think this was mainly due to the fact that that R&D in GDR was mainly the major task was to have industrial-oriented R&D, which was necessary to improve the productivity and efficiency of the system there, and therefore there was not so much basic research, but in the West, basic research was much more important, and it was mainly the interest of Western researchers to collaborate with other researchers which were active in basic research. They could not find these in GDR so much. Again, there was not so much collaboration. Mr. Heimpold said that only in 1987 there was a treaty between the GDR and the Federal Republic of Germany to foster, to improve collaboration, but this could not come into effect because unification occurred in 1989. That is only 2 years later on. So a contribution of mutual understanding, of collaboration between researchers in the East and the West or of science diplomacy, the contribution to unification was rather low there. So the same might be true maybe in North Korea or in the Korean peninsula, because maybe the situation will change much faster than anyone can imagine. If we return to Germany and we look at the situation after unification, the problem that Mr. Heimpold mentioned, that R&D in Eastern Germany went down soon after unification, has at least two reasons. The first is that we have a massive brain drain from Eastern Germany to Western Germany. There was huge migration, mainly of people with better qualifications who did not find an adequate job in Western Germany, and this, of course, hampered R&D there. And secondly, we had the industry structure of Eastern Germany changed. So we had a huge amount of construction services, of industries that were aimed at the regional markets, and in these sectors, R&D or science and technology was not so relevant. And this was another reason for the decline in R&D efforts in Eastern Germany after unification. Instead, we had much more technology transfer. Of course, technology transfer needs some absorptive capacity, and but this was given mainly because of the privatization of firms to Western and to foreign economies there. So the technology transfer was a substitute to own R&D in East Germany after unification. And this has helped to increase productivity to 80% now. Mr. Heimpold told about the gap between Eastern Germany and Western Germany, but nevertheless, productivity there is now at about 80%, which is not enough, okay, but it's quite a high level there. Today, I think we can say that R&D in the university sector, in the public sector, but also in the enterprise sector in Eastern Germany is competitive to the Western system. The problem that we still have is that there is a lack of human capital due to the migration waves that we had in the past, and this hampers a further increase of R&D and of science and technology in the West, and therefore public support is still necessary there. And this is one reason for the high cost of unification that we had in Eastern Germany that you mentioned, with the 2 trillion euro that it had costed since 1991. If we turn to the Korean case, I think it will be very difficult to have science diplomacy to increase or to foster unification efforts, because at the moment I think the North Korean side is not interested in further collaboration, so it will be very difficult. On the other hand side, maybe also the southern side is not so interested in, because it's increased collaboration might give rise to stabilizing the system, might induce problems with security matters and so on. So it will be necessary, I think, to have cooperation with the northern side, but this must be in all different fields, not only in science, though science might be one possible thing. Therefore, I think it will be much more necessary and much more important, as you mentioned, to think about the situation after a possible unification in Korea. as in Germany, this might occur very suddenly. It might be so, but you can't plan it. But we have to, or you have to think about what to do then. And in my opinion, the most necessary step then will be technology transfer from South Korea to the northern part of Korea then, and we have to try to, or you have to try to prepare for this, because with technology transfer, this will be the only way how to increase the competitiveness of the northern part, and hopefully this will be, you will be prepared for this, and it will, the Southern Korean firms and firms from abroad will be prepared to invest in the northern part and to help the firms there to become competitive. Otherwise, it would be very important, very expensive unification as we had it in Western or in Germany 25 years ago. I think that's it. Thanks.
The necessity of preparation for after unification in case of Korea. So because of the limited time, I would like to take just one or two questions from the floor, and then I will give my mic to the speakers. Yeah. So,
I'd like to ask the.
Oh, you have the loud voice. Okay. Okay, please stand up.
I'd like to ask our German colleagues if they had to do it over again, how would they conduct unifications? What are the lessons? What future situation?
Okay, thank you. Then any other questions? Then. Oh, I see. So yeah, please give him the mic again. Yeah. Okay.
Do it again? Yeah. Okay. Chuck Weiss from visiting scholar at AAAS. I'd like to ask our German colleagues if they had to do it over again, what would they do differently with as regards unification, and what are the lessons from their experience?
Okay, thank you. Then, so please we can go ahead. So then, three speakers we can answer or any more comments. And first, from Dr. Park, President Park.
Yes. Well, there were three questions. The first one was whether we will have another conference. Our conference is every other year. So not this year, but next year we'll have the fourth conference. However, with the medical school beginning, they would like to have their own conference, medical field, because in the Division of Medical Sciences, we have 5 schools: School of Medicine, Dentistry, Nursing, Public Health, and Pharmacology. So if that starts, then we'll have every year conference, one medical conference, another one science and technology. And I hope in the next conference, South Korean government allows South Korean nationalities to come. Well, there is good chance because the major party lost this year in the assembly election. The second thing is those who graduate, from the graduate school, they are mostly going to universities as an instructor or researcher, or they go for PhD. And some of them go abroad to continue with the advanced study. Now, there is no way to track individually, but each advisor, they know where they went. For example, I advised 3 graduate students, so I know where they went. One went to the Kim Il-sung University as an instructor. One came back to me for PhD. And the third one went to PIC, Pyongyang Informatics Center, where I used to be doing joint research for 7 years. So many people are worried about whether they are going to cyber, attack division or something like that. I doubt it. If they hire pushed the students in that section because in North Korea in 1985 they established two computer technology universities, one in Pyongyang and another one in Hamhung. Those who are graduating from Hamhung, they are all going to military. So they are the ones who will be, mostly working there. Third one is expanding internet. For example, at the post, originally only graduate students were allowed to use the internet, but now the undergraduate student, when they become senior, they have to write a thesis. So last 2 months of senior year, they are allowed to use internet. And the Kim Il-sung University, I met the director of the foreign affairs of the Kim Il-sung University. They are preparing to allow graduate students to use the internet. And the same thing with the Kim Il-sung University of Technology. So eventually they will be using, internet, I hope. Okay, did it answer to your questions?
Thank you. So can I give my mic to Dr. Heimholz?
Yes, there was a question of the colleague in the audience. Lessons of German unification. First of all, it's worth to mention that there was a very high speed of this unification process. The Berlin Wall came down on 9th of November. The first free elections in the GDR were on 18th of March 1990. On 1st of July was the introduction of the Economic, Monetary and Social Union, and on 3rd of October was German unification. So there was not time to elaborate maybe tailor-made concepts for a long process of data adaptation, etc. It was an excess of GDR to the Federal Republic of Germany. So in international terms, there was only a short window of opportunity for German unification. And all what has been done after unification, the economic key decisions, even the decision to introduce the Deutschmark on 1st of July, was motivated by the idea to give a chance, a vision to the East Germans that things will develop there well. The great concern at that time was mass outmigration to the western part. And this should be avoided by developing the indigenous potentials in East Germany. Insofar, it is difficult for me to say this or that went wrong. Most of the things which happened were politically motivated by this situation. With respect to R&D and innovation, which is our topic today, I would say, yes, in the retrospective view, one might have the idea that doing more for maintaining industrial R&D might have been important. To illustrate it, in the course of privatization, the privatization contracts included the obligation for the private investors to do a certain sum of investment and to maintain a certain number of employees. This does not really fit to a market economy. It was more a pragmatic solution. Well, and I would ask the question, and I'm not alone, this might have been done also for the R&D stuff and for R&D investment. So the next thing I would say, the young colleague from the KISTEP, he talked about criteria for unification. He talked about efficiency, he talked about growth, he talked about costs. Do not forget, unification is a subject to the people. It's about people and about integration of people. Integrating the institutional settings, introducing new law, this is a thing which can happen in few years. But integrating people and abolishing barriers in minds, it's a much longer process. Fourth, it seems me worth to mention there was a dramatic deindustrialization in East Germany. And numerous people lost their jobs. To illustrate, the industrial sector lost 2/3 of its employees. And creating new jobs did take much, much longer. And to bridge the gap between loss of the jobs and creating new jobs required huge social transfers. And we cannot talk only about the fiscal incentives for investments, for privatization, and so on, to save the social peace, to avoid social tensions. The social transfers and the social security system in Germany was very, very important. And allow me a brief remark to Mr. Ragnitz. He, at the beginning of his presentation, of his speech, he told that one reason for the decline in R&D in the enterprise sector was the outmigration. Yes, but there is the question of what is the chicken and what is the egg. My belief is if there would have been enough jobs in R&D in the enterprise sector, the young people would not have outmigrated. So the loss in the deindustrialization and the loss of the cutting of R&D was, from my point of view, also a reason for this outmigration. And to talk a figure between 1989 and 2013, 1.8, the net balance of outmigration to West Germany was 1.9 million people. So.
Thanks so much. So, finally, Dr. Lee. Please.
Okay, the lesson Korea got from German case is necessary to prepare unification in advance before coming unifications. Many people think German unification is successful, but most people, including people living now in East Germany, unification is not completed so far because the gap between East region and West region is reduced to just 50% for the 25 years. So many people think the other additional 25 years could be needed for perfect to complete unification. We think the problem is that there was no integration plan before unification in German. So German government conducted policy from 1991 to 1997. First 7 years, they conducted policy only about reconstruction without innovation concepts. So they just started policy containing innovations, started just in 1998. So we think if Korea have preparations for unification, such as integration roadmap about structuring innovation system in North Korea, or integration between South and North science systems, we can save the 7 to 10 years compared to German case. So finally, the lesson we we get from German case is how to save the time after unifications.
Panelists, and thank you especially for all the audiences staying up to the end. And I hope that through this science diplomacy session in Korea, first hosted by the science diplomacy by AAAS, will be the landmark for the unification of Korea, and unification for the Korea, the two Koreas in Korean Peninsula will be sure for the well-being and for the happiness of the people living in Korea. And I hope that this unification of Germany will go on for the happiness and for the well-being of the German people. So thank you very much.